All Bones Considered, Laurel Hill Stories number 82, Part 3. Happy 200th birthday. Daniel Pabst, 1826-1910, Philadelphia's top cabinet maker. It was somewhere around 30,000 years ago during the late Paleolithic or early Neolithic period that humans, using wood, stone, and animal bones, began to construct and carve their own furniture. The English word furniture is derived from the French word fourniture. In French, that means supplies or provisions. Other early examples could be found in Egyptian, Greek, and Roman societies. Initially, furniture served functional purposes: seating, storage, sleeping. Over time, furniture evolved to reflect social status and artistic trends. During the Middle Ages, furniture was primarily utilitarian, while the Renaissance period introduced more ornate designs and craftsmanship. The centuries that followed saw the rise of distinct styles: Baroque, Rococo, Victorian. Each was characterized by unique decorative elements. Explorers in the New World discovered many tree species previously unknown to Europeans. Some notable examples include the mahogany tree, prized for its durable and beautiful wood, the rubber tree, which became essential for producing rubber, and the cacao tree, whose seeds are used to make chocolate. Additionally, explorers encountered the towering sequoia and redwood trees in North America, as well as the various species of pine, cedar, and hickory that were abundant throughout the continent. In colonial America, furniture was typically made from locally available hardwoods, such as oak, elm, maple, walnut, cherry, and pine. These woods were favored for their durability and abundance. Craftsmen used pine for less expensive pieces and interiors, while finer furniture featured hardwoods like mahogany and walnut for a more polished look. In addition to wood, some furniture incorporated iron or brass hardware for hinges and decorative elements. In 19th century America, furniture styles evolved significantly from the pre-Victorian to the Victorian era, which began in the 1830s. Pre-Victorian furniture was influenced by Federal and Empire styles. It featured clean lines, delicate ornamentation, often used mahogany and cherry woods. The pieces were functional yet elegant, and motifs were inspired by classical antiquity. There was minimal upholstery. Now, during the Victorian era, furniture became more ornate and decorative. Heavy carving, elaborate details, rich dark woods, walnut, rosewood were very common. Upholstery was once stark. Now it became plush and patterned. Pieces like overstuffed sofas, intricate sideboards, detailed parlor chairs showcase the era's penchant for luxury and craftsmanship. Now, this transition marked a shift from restraint to exuberance in American furniture design. If you were the mistress of an upper-class Philadelphia Victorian household, you would most assuredly know about the varying furniture that was available for both display and for storage in your home. You'd be able to tell the differences among a sideboard, a cupboard, a chiffonier, an armoire, and a china cabinet. Cupboard, that's just a general term. Any cabinet that has shelves, doors, sometimes drawers. It's used to store a variety of household items in the kitchen, but also in the bathroom or in bedrooms. A sideboard is typically a long, low piece of furniture with cabinets and drawers. It is often used in a dining room to store serving dishes, linens, and tableware. A credenza is a dining room sideboard or display cabinet that's usually made from burnished and polished wood and decorated with marquetry. The top is often marble or another decorative liquid and heat-resistant stone. An armoire or wardrobe, simply a freestanding closet which may also have shelves and drawers. And then there's a chifforobe, combination of a wardrobe and a chest of drawers, which usually features one side with a hanging space for clothes, that's the wardrobe side, and the other side with drawers for folded garments, which makes it ideal for bedrooms without built-in closets. The word chifforobe, it's a portmanteau of chiffonnier, which is French for rag picker, and wardrobe. Finally, there's the china cabinet, designed specifically to display and to store fine china, glassware, and collectibles. It often features glass doors and shelves in order to showcase decorative items commonly found in the dining room or another living area. Every piece of furniture had its distinct function, and understanding these differences was essential for a Victorian housewife to manage her home well. During the mid-19th century in the United States, mass-produced furniture started to become common thanks to advances in industrial machinery and transportation. Steam-powered tools, the rise of factories, further increased production speed and affordability. After the Civil War, this type of furniture grew even more popular as railroads and mail-order catalogs helped bring stylish and affordable furnishings to many middle-class households. And by the close of the 19th century, mass-produced furniture was a fixture in American homes and provided a broad range of styles to meet various preferences and requirements. There is no specific date that you can point to that shows the establishment of the furniture business in Philadelphia. It started in colonial days. We know that. There were many fine craftsmen of furniture in the colonial days. By the mid-19th century, it was thriving. Daniel Pabst, 1826-1910, was one of Philadelphia's leading cabinet makers during the latter half of the 19th century. Renowned for his exceptional craftsmanship, distinctive sense of design, Pabst's work was consistently in high demand among discerning clientele. In 1933, the Philadelphia Museum of Art organized an exhibition of Victorian art. While he was preparing for this show, Calvin S. Hathaway, curator of decorative arts, first encountered furniture created by Daniel Pabst for prominent Philadelphia families. The exhibition featured pieces crafted by Pabst for families such as the Boreys and the Ingersolls, as well as dining room furniture made for Henry Charles Lee. Notably, the Lee furniture was later donated to the museum in 1938, following Arthur H. Lee's bequest. Arthur H. Lee, son of Henry Charles Lee. Henry Charles Lee, of course, is buried at Laurel Hill East. Arthur H. Lee is at Laurel Hill West. He lived from 1859 to 1939. He's in the Plymouth section over at West. Shortly after the Victorian exhibition, staff reductions at the museum due to the Great Depression forced Hathaway to leave Philadelphia. And for the next 30 years, while he was working at a museum in New York, he did no further research on Pabst's career. But when Hathaway came back to Philadelphia, he resumed his investigation into Pabst's life and work. By the time that Pabst opened his shop, the furniture industry in Philadelphia was said to have made significant advances in taste and production. Historian Edwin T. Friedley has written about the introduction of new machinery, the variety of woods used, and the evolving art of veneering. Friedley estimated that there were nearly 100 employers and at least 10 large warehouses catering to even the most discerning clientele. In his 1867 publication, Philadelphia and Its Manufacturers, Friedley estimated that the value of the furniture and upholstering industry in Philadelphia amounted to about $3 million. Another cabinet maker, George J. Henkels, criticized these developments. He argued that not every individual advertising themselves as a cabinet maker truly deserved the title. He lamented the decline of the apprenticeship system, which had previously ensured that craftsmen acquired comprehensive technical skills. The rise of steam mills and wholesalers further eroded traditional training, and Henkels bemoaned the loss of diligence in industry among the city's youth. Many changes that Henkel's described had begun earlier than he suggested. Steam mills appeared in Philadelphia between 1815 and 1825. Wholesalers entered the furniture business by the 1820s. By 1835, reliance on apprentice labor led journeyman cabinet makers to organize collectively. The overall structure and organization of the furniture industry remained relatively unchanged until the 1880s, with the firms clustered on Front, 2nd, 3rd, and Walnut Streets. Later they're in Germantown and Kensington. Foreign-born craftsmen, including French and German immigrants, played a significant role in the city's cabinet-making trade throughout the century. Despite technological advances, the industry retained its dependence on skilled labor. Custom-made, handcrafted furniture remained the preference of affluent customers, with advertisements and shop descriptions emphasizing the superiority of handmade work. Esteemed firms such as Allen & Brothers and Grossman & Munn devoted much of their business to customer orders for wealthy individuals and institutions. Daniel Pabst stood out among the dwindling number of reputable cabinet makers who upheld traditional methods and resisted industrialization. Much of what is known about him comes from the recollections of his granddaughter, Edna Reiser Schenkel, that were recorded by Hathaway in 1969. Other documentation, such as a customer list compiled by Pabst at his daughter's request, survives in the archives of the Philadelphia Museum of Art, although it is not definitive. Attribution of Pabst's work relies on family ownership, provenance, and stylistic evidence. Born in Langenstein, Hesse-Darmstadt, Germany, on June 11, 1826, Daniel Pabst received his education at one of Germany's earliest trade schools, the Hoher Gewerbschule in Darmstadt. There he learned cabinet making through formal study rather than apprenticeship. He gained skills in freehand and mechanical drawing, modeling, and general education courses. After he completed his education, Pabst found that German law required craftsmen to remain in their native towns. This limited his prospects. So he traveled around Germany for 5 years and then immigrated to America. He settled in Philadelphia in 1849. He initially worked as a journeyman, but he opened his own shop July 4, 1854, at 222 South 4th Street. Later, he moved to 269 South 5th Street around 1870, and he stayed there until his 1896 retirement. And even after he retired, he designed and crafted selected pieces. Pabst had joined Philadelphia's sizable community of German craftsmen, many of whom hailed from southern Germany. By 1850, the city had 725 German-born furniture makers, with the number of total furniture makers rising to 3,698 by 1880. Despite fierce competition, Daniel Pabst distinguished himself through the quality of his work and his clientele. He remained deeply attached to his German heritage. He assisted fellow immigrants, participated in the German Society of Philadelphia, and he also wrote and published poetry in German about his homeland. Pabst's wife, Helena Gross, was also German-born. Of their 7 children, only 3 survived to adulthood. The family lived at 264 South 5th Street. That was near Pabst's shop. When Pabst arrived in Philadelphia, he was just another foreign-born worker with limited prospects. However, he became a leading designer and manufacturer of artistic furniture, and word got around, and soon he was serving clients such as Mrs. Henry Diston, Mrs. Thomas McKean, Mrs. John Christian Bullitt, and organizations like the Pennsylvania Railroad. I have done podcasts about the Distons and the McKeans, and there's one coming up on the Bullets. Pabst's reputation spread nationally, and his shop employed up to 50 men. His active career included 10-year partnership with Francis Krauss, after which he worked independently. Now, due to the lack of surviving labels or documentation, furniture attributed to Pabst is identified, as I said before, by provenance and stylistic analysis. In fact, the only known object that bears Pabst's name is a sewing box that he made for his wife, Helena. It's decorated with watercolor floral designs and sentimental inscriptions. It reflects German artistic traditions and, of course, personal affection. The earliest group of furniture that can confidently be attributed to Pabst includes pieces made for historian Henry Charles Lee, All Bones Considered, Laurel Hill Stories number 18, such as a walnut cabinet and a red walnut dining room suite. These works were displayed in the museum's 1933 Victorian exhibition and showcased Pabst's mastery of Renaissance Revival style, marked by precise carving, geometric ornamentation, and restraint. Other notable pieces include matching cabinets for the Ingersoll family, walnut side chairs for Beauvais Bory. Beauvais Bory, 1846 to 1930. He's buried at Laurel Hill East in the P section. His father was Secretary of the Navy under Grant. All of these were attributed to Pabst through family tradition and stylistic evidence. Pabst's reputation extended to the White House. The family said he made some fireplace mantels, but there's no documentary confirmation. He also produced a modern Gothic bedroom suite for his daughter Emma, which highlighted his embrace of new styles, while maintaining his Renaissance Revival forms. Modern Gothic design, characterized by floral motifs and medieval ornament, was influenced by English Reform designers such as Bruce J. Talbot, Christopher Dresser. Their works and theories on simplicity and truthfulness of construction resonated with Pabst's approach. Pabst's furniture demonstrated meticulous attention to detail, innovative use of materials, and a unique vocabulary of ornamentation. His work reflected the principles advocated by contemporary designers and contributed to the evolution of American decorative arts. Pabst's connection with the influential Philadelphia architect Frank Furness, 1839-1912, All Bones Considered, Laurel Hill Stories number 6, is evidenced by the appearance of Furness's name on Pabst's customer list and the similarities between their designs. They shared many clients, including a significant professional association. A desk designed by Frank Furness around 1875 for his brother, Horace Howard Furness's Washington Square house, was likely constructed in Daniel Pabst's shop. It's reasonable to suppose that Furness provided initial sketches, which Pabst then adapted, resulting in several practical changes from the original drawing to the completed piece. For instance, the central drawer and the engaged columns at the base were omitted. The number of side drawers was reduced from 3 to 2. These are modifications likely recommended by Pabst. The lamps are similar to those depicted in Furness's drawings, but probably purchased as ready-made items, as were some winged female figures. Some of Pabst's work for Furness and for Lee, both, can be seen at the University of Pennsylvania's Van Pelt Library, 5th floor. The most notable commission attributed with some certainty to the partnership of Furness and Pabst was the furniture and interior woodwork for Theodore Roosevelt Sr.'s house at 6 West 57th Street in New York City. The built-in dining room mantel and sideboard echoed features of the Pabst bureau and mirror, with the dining table supported by a substantial base featuring sculpted pelicans, a motif also found in other Furness commissions. The design is attributed to Furness based on stylistic similarities and the repeated use of motifs like the penguins. Several of these pieces were moved by the Roosevelts to Sagamore Hill, Oyster Bay, Long Island in the late 1880s. These included a settee and a bedroom suite comprising armchairs, a table, bed, and wardrobe. Family traditions suggest that the bedroom furniture formed a master bedroom suite that won first prize at the Philadelphia Centennial Exhibition, although no such suite is described in the exhibition catalog. The armchair closely matches a Frank Furness sketch for a chair. The Roosevelts attended the exhibition and would have seen the sideboards crafted by Pabst. One of Pabst's sideboards received an award at that centennial exhibition. It was commended for utility, durability, and beauty. Unfortunately, its current whereabouts are unknown, but it was considered a masterpiece. Contemporary commentary described the sideboard as the most prominent in its class, but noted that its highly architectural style reduced its practicality. The piece was constructed from wood that was filled and polished with shellac and featured hinges and mountings of oxidized silver, praised for their workmanship and spirited design. The sideboard's panels were carved in relief with animal and floral motifs. Its central mirror was topped with a richly carved crocketed gable and a finial featuring two birds resembling pelicans, a motif also present in Furness's work. 4 finials on the posts marking the 3 main divisions were finished with carved cockatoos. Pabst's award-winning sideboard likely resembled another significant sideboard he designed shortly after the Centennial Exhibition. According to a newspaper account, John Bond Trevor of Yonkers, New York, commissioned a Pabst Philadelphia firm to design a buffet for a niche in the dining room of Glenview, Trevor's house on the Hudson River. Only the base of this black walnut sideboard survives, but it exemplifies the high quality of Pabst's craftsmanship. The door panels, carved in relief, depict scenes from Aesop's fox and crane fable and closely resemble a curtain design by C. Heaton from Eastlake's Hints on Household Taste. The carving style on this buffet was more naturalistic than the conventional floral ornament on the Pabst family bedroom suite. Pabst's Gothic furniture was also displayed at the exhibition. It was noted for its abundant carving, although at times it was criticized for lacking clear purpose or meaning. His Renaissance sideboard, while also displayed, was considered less meritorious compared to his Gothic pieces, which tended to incorporate too many architectural elements suited to stonework rather than to furniture. Other interior woodwork attributed to Pabst in the Trevor house includes mantelpieces. Unfortunately, the Pabst overmantels were destroyed in the 1930s during renovation. The use of patterned marquetry and shallow relief carving reveals a delicacy influenced by Asian art and the changing tastes of the art furniture movement. It paralleled the ebonized furniture of the Herder brothers of New York from the 1880s. The mantelpiece actually aligns more closely with Herder brothers' work than with Furness furniture. Pabst's involvement in interior woodwork is further supported by an advertisement and billhead from the 1890s referencing interior hardwood decorations, artistic furniture, and upholstery. Although the full extent of Pabst's work in the Trevor house is unknown, Calvin Hathaway was confident that the interior woodwork of the Charles Perry house at 1921 Arch Street, Philadelphia, built in 1870-71, was by Pabst, and Perry's name appeared on Pabst's customer list, although there is no definitive evidence. Nevertheless, the quality and motifs of the woodwork strongly resemble those found in Pabst furniture. Designs by Pabst for 2 mantelpieces feature delicate flower and vase motifs were published in the supplement to Builder and Decorator in July 1887. City directories show that Pabst brought his son into the business in 1894. But by 1896, the shop had significantly reduced in size and was last listed that year. After he retired, Daniel Pabst continued to make furniture primarily for friends and family. A desk from 1901, collection of Mrs. Joseph G. Schubert of Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, reflects earlier stylistic influences and, according to family tradition, was exhibited at the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904, possibly under another firm's name. From 1860, Pabst was also recognized as a spoon maker. He created ceremonial spoons in wood for honor students at the University of Pennsylvania. For his 84th birthday in 1910, the university honored Pabst, who composed a farewell poem aged spoonmakers farewell, reminiscing about the joy of making ceremonial spoons for 51 years. Now, a question that occurred to me while researching this podcast: did Daniel Pabst inspire or influence 20th century local woodmaster Horton Esherick? Both were superb craftsmen, but they worked in different eras. They brought unique perspectives to their art. Pabst, in the late 19th century, was known for his masterful furniture making, often blending traditional Victorian styles with elements of the aesthetic movements, and his work showcased refined woodworking techniques, intricate inlays, and a focus on decorative detail. In contrast, Horton Esherick worked primarily in the 20th century. He is a pioneer of the American studio furniture movement. Esherick's pieces are celebrated for their sculptural qualities and organic forms. They reflect modernist influences and a break from strict tradition. Pabst furniture tends to emphasize ornamentation and craftsmanship rooted in European traditions. Esherick's work is more experimental. It actually blurs the lines between art and a functional object. A trip to the Horton Esherick Museum in Malvern is a journey to another time in what seems like an alternate universe where there's no such thing as a true right angle. If you go, you have to make reservations in advance, but boy, is it worth your time to go on a tour of that Horton Esherick Museum. Pabst's legacy lies in his role as a bridge between historic styles and emerging design sensibilities, whereas Esherick is remembered for his innovative approach and his influence on later generations of artist craftsmen. Both contributed significantly to American woodworking, but their styles and philosophies highlight the evolution of design from the ornate to the expressive and the modern. There is currently no explicit scholarly consensus or cited documentation to link Horton Esherick's work to inspiration from Daniel Pabst. Daniel Pabst died July 15th, 1910, after a distinguished career that spanned much of the 19th century. Within 25 years of his death, Calvin S. Hathaway began to research Pabst for the museum's Victorian exhibition in 1933, and he continued his study until his own death in 1974. This initiative was prompted by Fisk Kimball, museum director. He was seeking a Victorian Philadelphia cabinet maker of equal stature to those of the colonial era. Calvin Hathaway found such a talent in Daniel Pabst. Pabst is interred at Laurel Hill West.